name is Beth, and you want to check my audio really quickly just to be sure my audio is good. Um, I don't know how much light I'm going to have in here for this reading. I'm just going to, read until, as much as I can. To be, I want to say that, like, this reading was very much inspired by this book, Bridge to Terabithia by Katherine Paterson. I may be actually flipping to a page or two in the book, depending on what I see. I may be pulling some other cards. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, I had been wanting to make, and I made today, a new basically deck of themes of cards that are inspired by this book. So, I had created my other series, my Andromeda series, and basically series was similar where I had created like another deck with themes, and this is kind of carrying on a little bit from my inspiration. So like this book really inspired me, and the themes in the book I had really wanted to share with people because I think it gives people like something to think about and a different perspective or take on the relationship that they may be thinking about, or just in their life. It may not have anything to do with anybody else. It may just be something that they need to hear, a theme that they need to hear, or that I need to talk about on this channel. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna do a reading here and see what we get. If you'd like to donate, this would be a great time. Still don't really know what's going on with housing. And yeah, if you'd like to book a reading, please, send a payment through PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App. All the links are going to be in the description box below. And yeah, I'm ready to jump in. So I'm just going to lay out 10 cards. Ooh, the cards are like flying out. I'm going to move the book over here for a second. Okay, and then we got the outcome. Okay. Okay, so this is so interesting. So this theme actually was going to be like my main theme of this series. But I didn't want to like, make it my main theme because there's other themes that I would love so much as well. So like, but this one's the big one. And um the theme of the bridge, as a metaphor for like everything in life. The bridge being a metaphor for a transition in life, a gray area in a relationship. The bridge being about growth, about learning from past experiences, taking things from the past into the present, having connections, having relationships, taking a step forward into something new and so doing something different. The bridge is also about making something new in your life and making like a new connection. So for some of you, you might start dating new people. Like, like to me, this is the outcome. Um, if you are in a relationship, this is like working on the connection, working on your connection to the other person, growing together versus growing apart, um, feeling like more like a unit. This is also taking a step forward, taking action steps, taking forward steps. To me, it's a very positive energy. My guides are confirming this of forward movement. Now, for some of you, like for me personally, I haven't felt very much forward movement since, oh my gosh, like last October. I felt like everything started to really slow down starting in November of last year. And it's been basically not a lot of forward momentum since November of last year. So for some of you, you might feel like you want to move things forward in your life, or you want to move things forward in a relationship, or you might have felt stuck. I talk a lot about on my channel about um the energy of stuckness. People that I read for tend to feel quite stuck, and the thing is that we all can get stuck in life. So I did like a whole video basically about being stuck, but this energy is not about, to me, it's not about being stuck. But I'm just saying, like, sometimes we go through transitions, and those transitions can feel like we're stuck, or we can, feel like we're not moving forward when we really are. For shouting out to anybody who's ever gone through like surgery, or like had an injury, or had a procedure. Like, I recently had a procedure done, and I'm recovering, and it's a process. It's not like boom, you get out and you're done and you just go right back into everything that you were doing before. No, like, there's a process to it, and there's time and healing involved, and it's just one of those things where it's important for people to realize and recognize that it's the same thing for everything in life. Like, you can't always just kind of go full guns blazing into everything. You have to take things one step at a time, as my dad would say, and understand, and that you're going through process of life. Like, life is a process, and we are, going through different things, and sometimes those things require us to slow down. So shouting out to everybody who's needed to slow down, whether it's procedure or whether it's medical stuff, just for that. A lot of people, shout out to me, and they email me and they say, well, they were going through such and such a thing. And so I know that people can at times feel like they're not moving forward because they had to take time out because of their health, or they had to take time out for a procedure or something. And so this might be applicable to you in that way. Others, to me, this is like a lot of growth in a connection. And actually, you might feel like at this time, like a disconnect between you and somebody else. Like, you might feel like there is no hope in a relationship at all. You might actually feel like your person is like on an island, or you're on an island, and you can't connect with them, for whatever reason. Maybe you're in no contact, or you don't want to talk to them, or maybe they don't want to talk to you, but it might feel quite like there is no way you're ever going to see or hear from them again. And to me, it feels like with a bridge, anything is possible. And so you might get an unexpected phone call, or unexpected text message, or you might want to reach out to them. To me, this is reaching, connecting. For some people, hearing from people from home, like if you don't talk to your family, or if you live at a distance from people, like this could be living at a distance from family or friends or whatever, and this is them reaching out to you, hearing back from something. There's so many different types of bridges. I love this card because it's such a metaphor for so many things. Like, it could be, like I said, hearing from somebody, having a connection with that person, a phone call, text message. But it also could be just going through a transition period or a time of growth, and having forward momentum when maybe like things weren't moving forward. So if you're single, this is forward momentum. If you are dating, or if you're like wanting to know about a situation, like most likely there'll be some kind of connection, like, or you'll be working on a connection with that person. It's pretty straightforward. I want to see if there's anything else. Yeah, because to me, we also have the theme of love as friendship, which is also about a connection. But this is also like looking at someone like with hearts in your eyes, like looking at somebody like they're really beautiful. Like, you might see the beauty or the good in people. Like, I'm really guilty of this, where I see the good in people. Um, and it takes me a really long time to like to see like people's like negative traits, and then when I do, I'm like, well, that was clear, that was really obvious, why didn't I see that before? So like some of you like might idealize a person, or like want to connect to a person who you look up to, or like who you see as really attractive or beautiful, or like they kind of have like their glow on, you know what I'm saying? Like, they might seem very glowy to you. Um, but this is also to me like friendship, like so some of you may be like working like like you might have a friendship with somebody and be working on that friendship and like wanting to take it to like a next to like the next level or something like that. Um there's this theme of belonging, which is one of my favorite themes. I mean, this whole deck, just I love this deck. This is like making this was incredibly special for me. Because like it's very different from my Andromeda deck. There's some similarities, but it's very different. To me, my Andromeda deck is more about like the karma of like the hard lesson. And whereas this deck is more the poetic qualities of life and relationships. And mm, like it's more it has more contrast, it has more high highs and low lows. But anyways, okay, so this is a theme of belonging. So like to me, like, and this is in the position of what's coming in from the outside. So like someone thinks like I don't know, someone feels that or you make someone feel like safe, like they accept you. To me, this is like being accepted. Some of you could be accepted into like a program at school. This could be like a master's degree, a bachelor's degree, like program or some kind of program. This is like feeling accepted or the need to feel accepted with other people. Um, but because it's coming in from the outside, to me, this is acceptance, like other people making you like finding your tribe, kind of, but could it be also a specific person? Like if you wanted to know about a specific person, as this specific person accepts you. Uh, there's at least one person in your life that accepts you for who you are, like completely 100%. Like there is no question. Like they just look at you and they're like, accept you. It's kind of like you might, for some of you, appear to be kind of like a big kid. Like you might have some endearing qualities to you. So you might do really, really well with kids. They might look at you like you're just another kid. Like, um, it's like some people have that quality to them. They have that kind of like this endearing quality, and not everybody's like that. There's definitely people that I that I can think of off the top of my head that don't look like kids. They look like adults, and like they've always looked like adults. Like they look old. I don't know how to explain it, but there's some people that like don't. It's not that they never grow up. It's just that they don't really lose their childlike way or their innocent type way or just like their naivete about life. They may have grown up really sheltered, or they just may have that kind of personality. Like not everybody has that personality. So to me this is like, potentially even working with kids. Like you could work with kids, you could teach, you could be spending a lot of time around kids. This could be like camp stuff. You could be just spending time with your own kids. I don't know why I'm getting a strong kid vibe from this, but to me, kids, like especially young kids, like we're not talking about like school age, like because like when you're in school, nobody accepts you. At least I wasn't. But like, like but later, like when they're young, they're very accepting. So like I don't know, like working with young kids. That's what I want to say. Maybe you want to do that, or that's what you're doing in some way. But I also feel like this card to me is about also finding acceptance in like not people, like finding acceptance in nature, finding acceptance from plants and trees and being in the woods, finding acceptance from pets and like a loving dog, or you know what I'm saying, like just your plants. Like to me, it's acceptance and belonging from not necessarily like family. This could be acceptance from like a loving friend or acceptance from a loving person in your life. They might not have, like, you might not have that much attachment to this person. You could just be friends with this person. This to me also can indicate like some of you, like you might have like a best friend. Um, and like you might be thinking, okay, I wanted to know maybe about this best friend kind of person. And like to me, there's a level of acceptance or belonging there. Belonging is actually a theme that I want to talk about more. I could talk about this like all day, but I think that it's going to become a real um, issue later down the line in time. Feeling like we belong on this planet, that we belong here in this time, that we belong to each other, that we belong to the earth, that we belong to people in our life. It's like, and to me, this is the healthy sense of belonging. This is not that you belong to me because you signed on the dotted line with marriage to me. It's not ownership, it's acceptance, it's finding your place or people or animals or nature that makes you feel that you belong, that you don't have to try. I mean, it's a beautiful energy. Um, we have the theme of rebuilding in the position of emotions, which to me is talking about rebuilding in some way, needing to start from scratch somehow. Emotionally, you need people to treat you right. Maybe people haven't treated you right, you know, um, in the past. Emotionally, you need to feel like emotionally, you need to start over. Some of you need to start over, which is interesting. Trying to see if there's anything that else that wants to come through here. We have this theme about peace and stillness and music, which hasn't really, I don't think it's come up in the readings that I've done yet. So like I'm just gonna clear these off here really quick. Um, it's funny because I keep having this, like my guides keep showing me this, and I don't know why I'm talking about this, but there's a Kenny Chesney interview that he did, which talked about how he craves stillness. And he's a musician. And I find it very interesting that my guides keep showing me him in that interview that he did where he talked about that. Because you would think that, him being a musician like that, you know, he wouldn't, that he's like an extrovert. So like you might appear to be extroverted with a lot of people, but actually crave stillness. You might actually need like more quiet time or alone time or just time to decompress like after work or time to decompress from people. It's very interesting because like, I grew up in a very kind of a chaotic household. There's a lot going on. People ask me, about my family, and I just there's a lot of, there was siblings, but there was also sibling friends, which were always there. And so it was kind of just like there was a constant flow of people. And I don't really know how my parents really put up with it. They were actually really good natured about it and didn't really mind us having so many people. I think it kind of kept us occupied and out of trouble. And I feel like my family always like was just they were fine if we were with our friends, but they were not fine if we were off on our own somewhere, like that they couldn't keep track of us. So like it's interesting that there's all this stuff that's coming up here about people. And like for some of you, you might be spending a lot of time with groups of people, and you might need, or family, and there might be some level of chaos in which you need to decompress from. Like, and it's funny because I was thinking today about how in growing up in that chaotic environment, there were times in which I was like, I'm going to my room, like, and I'm not coming out. I'm going to take a break. I take these breaks from people. And I think it's really necessary at times to sometimes decompress. So some of you may be going through a period of time where you need to decompress from people, from the world, um, and get some of the energies of other people off of you. Some of you need to take a salt shower, a bath, and I talk about that. Hang on just a second. I'm not sure how long I've missed the connection for. I'm just going to continue my reading. My camera showed me that like there was like maybe a pause. So, I was talking about this card and Kenny Chesney, and I was talking about how stillness, and he's a musician, and I was talking about thinking of him like being an extrovert. And so some of you may appear to the world to be extroverted, but might need some quiet time. Like to me, like you might be going through a period of time where you need quiet, like you need quiet alone time, and taking like need to take breaks from being around so many people. And I'm feeling that. Like my guides are confirming, like for someone, you need to take breaks, or you just need to have more alone time by yourself where you don't necessarily do anything. Like you're just hanging out, maybe watching some YouTube or putting your feet up. My dad would say he'd go and he'd put his feet up for a few minutes, and like, that was just kind of like taking a nap or taking a rest. Some of you need to do that and like have some peace. There's this energy, there's also like a very strong poetic quality to this card, um, where like someone could have very deep feelings for you, like, or you could have very deep feelings for someone, more than you probably have shared. And it's hard to explain this card a little bit. Like when I was making it, I was thinking about um, all these things. It was more of a feeling, and I couldn't really quite put it into words. But it's a feeling of peace, and it's also a feeling of stillness, and like the energy of like inspiration itself, or music itself, or just having like a feeling of peace. And some of you need that. Some of you don't have that, and you need that, and some of you like need to create that, either through music or through just taking time out. I feel like you'll get your inspiration when you are quiet, you know? Um, Anybody who's like trying to, what I call, regroup from, say, a stressful situation or a stressful time, like get quiet. When you get quiet, like you can really, um, I don't know, like I feel like you can really get your, shit together, you get your head together and you get clarity. Whereas like if you're around a lot of people, let's just say a lot of, excuse me, noise, and you can hear in the background, there's always constant noise where I live. So you might live in a place where there's a lot of noise, a lot of people, and this is where you need to get quiet, because that's really going to help you do more art or do more music, or realize, like kind of filter out like your feelings, like feel your feelings. Like if you're around a lot of people all the time, it's hard to like go within. So to me, this is a very like introspective card that talks about going within and figuring out your shit, like understanding how you feel, like understand, like feeling your feelings. But it's also like having the capacity, and like I feel like some people are really going to get this card and other people are not. So like some people are very deep, they have a deep, beautiful soul, they have more than just like the surface level of like what's going on with you right now, like do you want to hook up right now, like you know it's it's just, there's people that are very, very deep souls. Like they have a lot to offer soul wise. So they're not going to be satisfied. Like I feel like some people are not satisfied with surface level, and I feel like those people that are watching, like you might resonate with this and be like, I am more of a deeper soul person and I need more than just surface level stuff. But also, like going back to having feelings for someone, like the person that you might be interested in has either deep feelings for you that you don't know about, or you have very deep feelings for them, and it goes beyond surface level. Like, it's not just surface level feelings. It's not just like, oh, I like this person. It's more like, no, like, you really person, that person really loves you, and it's powerful. And I feel like there are people that have the capacity to love others in a very like powerful way. Um, so that may resonate. You may resonate with that. You know, you may not. Um, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna pull one card. I love it. Okay, I wanted to pull one card that was not part of the spread. That was just kind of just to see if there's any other messages want to come through. And this card, and for those people who just started, I was inspired by the book Bridge to Terabithia. And as you can see on the cover, there's these big trees in the cover. And, you know, in the book, they go to this place, um, this special like pine woods, and there's a crabapple tree. And of course, you know, I read from my tree's oracle. So it was like my tree's oracle was like when I made this card, was like shouting at me, like like all the trees were shouting at me. They were like talking to me, like that I needed to include this card. And there's another card that I wanted to make that I haven't included that's similar, that has to do with um and again, it's similar to like you know, the Kenny Chesney thing, where it's like that other card, which was a little bit harder to articulate because it's more of a feeling. So to me, this was like more of a feeling. I was trying to write down what it was that the trees wanted to communicate, but I feel like they just really wanted to be included in this reading. They wanted to be seen, they wanted to be heard. The collective of the trees wanted to be seen, wanted to be heard. I was trying to pinpoint, okay, I was like, what is it that the trees want to say? They wanted to tell everyone listening that they're there for us. And essentially, we wouldn't be alive without the trees. And I think that over time, the trees themselves have been forgotten, you know? And I think that when we go and reconnect with the tree spirit energies, we really kind of get in touch with like memory itself and time itself, and get in touch with like the past and history. And like to me, like the trees are the childhood, but the trees are also the future, you know? So it's like when you're a child, you're around trees, but you don't realize the trees are growing up with you. And then the trees are gonna outgrow you. You know what I'm saying too? Or you're going to outgrow the trees depending on where, you know, the lifespan of the trees. So it's like very interesting, you know, perspective. I wrote down trees as life lessons, and I was like, I don't know if that's it. Trees as companions, as healers, you know, as therapy, as givers, it's everything. And then I eventually wrote like on the side, I was like, trees are like my whole heart. And I was like, yeah, like to me to me there's a sense of wholeness, you know, with the trees, with nature. So some of you may be working on that, like you might be working on like your wholeness, like, or wanting more out of life in the sense of it's not just like, I don't know, wake up and rinse, wash, repeat everything that you did that day. Like maybe you're wanting something more out of life, or like you're thinking about the bigger picture. To me, this is bigger picture. Much bigger picture, much bigger perspective. Especially like, you know, it's interesting, and I know that this is going to come up like every reading I'm going to do with, if this card comes up, but different trees are going to come up. So like, you know, originally I was thinking about the oak tree, but right now my guides are showing me the black walnut. And walnut especially takes a really, really long time to grow. It's slow growing. And it takes like 40 years for a walnut tree to mature. Like 40 years. It's a really long time. And so like you could plant it now and die and never see it. And so like there's that whole saying about planting a tree that you're never going to be able to sit under. And that's like the black walnut. And so I feel like some of you need to like think about your future in larger, bigger picture terms. Think about like what's coming next, but then also longer term. Like sometimes we start to obsess about the details of life. We lose our perspective on the bigger picture. And to me, like the energy of the black walnut has the larger, longer term perspective of like what's happening in the on the planet, but like what's happening longer term. Like, thinking about what our grandkids are going to be doing or what's going to be good for our children. Like it's that energy of thinking longer term, bigger picture planning. And there's some people that have it down and other people that aren't thinking about stuff like that at all. They're really just thinking, okay, I got to take the trash out right now and I got to go get gas in my tank and maybe go get my hair done. And like they're not thinking about maybe planting a tree that's going to like mature in 40 years. So some of you need to actually do that. Like you need to actually do something that's going to be meaningful in your life. And I've talked about this here on this channel. I'm not sure if it kept recording. I lost connection here. But I talked about this on this channel before a little bit about creating meaning in life, and having things to live for, but also looking at like the bigger picture and like thinking bigger term, longer term, being prepared about things. And like I feel like, people don't really want me to talk about being prepared, but I feel like it's still a present energy. And like the trees have this longer term perspective because some trees like the black walnut takes 40 years to grow. So it's going to be where it's like the trees are saying, you got to think about where you're going to be in 40 years. You got to start planning for like what could be coming down the pike, tomorrow, the next day, 40 years out. Because it's probably going to be, different than what you're expecting. But if you don't plan at all, then you're going to be, like I've said before, in for kind of a rude awakening. I don't like to say that, but like for the trees to come out and, sort of show me the black walnut, to me, that's about longevity. That's about seeing things long term. And some of you are not going to live past, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years time. So you're in some way, you're not going to care. You're not going to seem to care about what's going to come 40 years from now. And I think that's part of the problem. It's like we've forgotten about the trees. We've forgotten about life. We've forgotten about what's coming down the pike, 10 years, 15 years. Where are we going to be at in 40 years? Like I bet you a little test, okay? Little test where like in this reading, I was like, okay, in the comments, write down where you think everybody's going to be in 40 years time, or where are you going to be in 40 years? I really doubt that anybody's thinking about it. Or if I even ask the question, are you thinking about where you're going to be in 40 years? Most people are not. Are you thinking about where you're going to be in 40 years? If the answer is collectively no, and only one person, let's just say out of like say 50 people is thinking about where they're going to be in 40 years, nobody's planting that black walnut tree. Nobody is, planting an acre of walnut trees. Nobody is thinking about planting something like a seed, preparing something that's going to mature in 40 years. They're not even thinking about what, like new parents aren't even able to really think about tomorrow, let alone paying for their college tuition, let's just say 30 years time, which was triple what it is right now. So again, it's just these are things to think about. And it's very interesting that the trees are coming up. There's also the orange tree, which really wants to come through. It's sort of in the back of my mind. And the orange tree, to me, is sweetness. And it's so interesting that the orange tree wants to come through. It is stirring up like a lot of emotions, more so than the black walnut did. Like the orange tree collective to me is about sweetness, but it's also about care, and it's also about sunshine. And it's also about anointing. To me, it's like there's like a need for those of you who are watching to anoint yourself with either essential oils or like it could even be like perfume with like a citrus energy. Like to me, it's like citrus fragrance. Really wards off negativity. But the orange tree to me is about enjoying life's sweetness. And that sweetness, it's almost like, it's like, I don't know how to say this. It's like liquid sunshine or liquid positivity. It's vitamin C. Some of you need to up your vitamin C, okay, in intake. Number one. Number two, you're not getting enough sunshine. Number three, the orange tree is like, you got to embrace life's sweetness. Like, and work on not being so negative. To me, that's what it is. It's like saying, you gotta take care of your body. That's it. That's what it is. Take care of your body and protect yourself from negativity. You know, that energy too. Oh no. I'm not sure. I've lost connection in this reading several times, so I'm going to actually close here. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully some of the things that I said came through. The last thing that I said about the orange tree was embracing life's sweetness, take care of your physical body. Like that was like the main thing from the orange tree. And try to be more positive. Like some of you do need to work on your positivity or like your approach to negative information or negative things in the world. Anointing with essential oils is important too. So that's what I said. I'm not sure if that was caught on camera, but that's all for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. I send everyone big hugs and big kisses. Please give me a thumbs up. A thumbs up would be awesome. And write in the comments, like, let me know if you are planning or are you thinking about what's going to happen in 40 years? Or are you doing anything and for 40, what's going to become important 40 years from now? Something like that. I can't really articulate the question, but you guys get the point. So, you know, anyone who wants to donate, I appreciate it so much. I still don't know about housing, so but I am still doing offering private readings through probably 15th or 16th. Might extend it if I have donations and if I have housing. So please donate if you can. I'd appreciate it so much. I send everyone big hugs and big kisses. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. Wish you guys all the best. Bye, guys.